Good wonderful morning, ladies and gentlemen. Man here, welcome back to the channel. It's getting really sunny, it's getting really bright here outside already getting really warm as well. Despite that, we're going to hit the outdoors today, and maybe I'm lucky enough to get my hands on the 9A again even, but I'm definitely gonna wait for the evening until everything cools down a little bit, because this route is actually quite in the sun. So you have to await some better conditions. Anyway, before that, I want to get a really important video done. We're gonna talk about breaking plateaus again. And this might even be the most important breaking a plateau episode that I shot so far. We've talked about so far changing things up. Very important when it comes to breaking plateaus. Longer breaks. Taking a longer break has definitely the potential to help you break through to the next level as well. I've seen this countless times. Making your progress measurable, okay, that's an important one. When it comes to hangboarding, campus boarding and stuff like that, making your progress measurable is going to reduce the little steps that you take and making them visible, okay? Because waiting for the next max grade can sometimes take years, okay? And you're not gonna have this sense of improvement, whereas you're improving in the background, you just don't see it. So making your progress measurable, breaking it down into smaller steps is definitely gonna keep the motivation high for that. And finally, I already talked about hidden weaknesses, okay? The weaknesses that hold us back, but which are not that obvious, like for example body strength or maybe mental strength, okay, fear of falling and stuff like that. But today I want to talk about a very simple thing, and maybe the most important one, and that is just trying freaking harder, okay? Trying freaking harder. And in order to illustrate this subject, I want to make 3 points. I want to get 3 points across here. First of all, I want to talk about mental strength that always precedes physical strength, okay? And in order to illustrate this point, I want to make a little bit of a mental experiment, so to say, with people who went through some sort of sports, doesn't even need to be climbing, but who did some sort of sport for a longer time already, let's say 5 years. So I want you to think back to the moment when you started out the sport, okay? When you were super psyched, you're watching all these movies, maybe you watched a lot of climbing movies and it looked super cool what these guys did, and you just wanted to be able to do this as well. Now, in this stage of your climbing progression, your mentality is up here and your body is down here. Your mentality is much stronger already. You know, you're already climbing these routes in your head, in your dreams, but your body is still weak, okay? Your body is much too weak to be content with it. You're not satisfied with your body. And this is the mentality that you're going to apply in the gym as well. You're gonna go balls to the walls because your body, your mental strength is so much stronger than your body. And it's really easy to break down this weak body and make it stronger if you're very strong already in your head. And this is basically the initial stage when you start any sport, and with climbing is of course the same. Now with time, what's going to happen is of course your body is going to get stronger, okay? Your body is going to get stronger and stronger, and at some point you are going to equalize mental strength and physical strength. And now it's getting interesting, because now you kind of have this sort of contentment, you know, with what you already achieved. I remember this quite well when I climbed my first 8C. When I did my first 8C and I clipped the anchor, I had the feeling, wow, oh man, this was so freaking hard. This was so freaking hard, man. Is it even necessary to go even harder than this? You know, is it worth all the suffering that it's gonna take to push it even beyond this crazy difficulty, you know? I'm actually pretty content with what I have already. I think I'm gonna sit back a little bit and enjoy the strength that I have, do some easier routes, you know, get some easier meters in. And this is, of course, how you get into a plateau, okay? Because wanting to have a physically stronger body is what precedes actually having a physically stronger body. And you can see this very well on pros like Ondra, for example. If he gets to a new level, he already thinks about the next level. He already thinks about what it could take to get even stronger, you know? How could the next grade even feel? How crazy freaking hard could that be? And what do I need to train, you know, in order to achieve that, you know? Never being content with what you have, as stupid as this might sound, okay? The more content you are with what you have, the less likely are you to push it to the next limit because you're already satisfied. And this is something that's really hard to keep up, you know, especially as you get closer to your genetic potential, I would say, because again, the amount of suffering and the amount of time that goes into getting even stronger increases all the time. And this already leads me to my next point, which is that notion that a lot of people have that climbing has to be fun. Climbing has to be fun all the time, you know, it has to be awesome and it has to be fun and you have to be happy all the time and stuff like that. All this only occurs in your comfort zone, okay? Climbing is fun in your comfort zone. Everything, you know, in your comfort zone, it is fun, yeah? As soon as you're leaving your comfort zone, it's going to be more suffering, it's going to be more frustrating, it's going to be more painful simply, okay? Your skin on these small sharp holes, on these small sharp edges. You're gonna cut yourself open, you're gonna bleed, it's gonna hurt, your muscles are going to hurt, your bones, your joints and stuff like that. These are crazy forces that are acting on a climber's body there, on his limit, okay? Are you willing to leave your comfort zone, to experience this suffering? Getting stronger in climbing up to a certain point, you know, it's kind of fun, okay? But if you're really getting to your limit, it's not fun anymore. You have to leave your comfort zone, and climbing out of your comfort zone is not fun. The only thing that's fun about it is basically clipping the anchor and celebrating, or matching the top jog for that matter and celebrating. So as you can see, the time span that is fun about it is basically getting reduced to just a short moment of celebration. And all the journey to that is a lot of suffering, man. It's going to be a lot of frustration. The conditions are not going to be good. You're always gonna fall at the same crux move. It's gonna be frustrating as hell. It's gonna be painful as hell. A lot of attempts, you know, you always have to climb the same stuff. Man, at some point you have to let go of this notion that everything has to be fun all the time. Getting stronger, getting closer to your limit in climbing basically means increasing your resistance to suffering. The cool thing about this is that you don't have to do this only in climbing in order to get better at this, okay? You can already try in your daily life to reduce your comfort, stop being such a spoiled kid, so to say, and reducing your comfort levels to be able to reducing your comfort levels also on the wall, because that's essentially what occurs when you're stepping it up on the grade ladder, okay? You're reducing your comfort on the wall. So again, it's not always fun, man. Leaving your comfort zone is very important when you really want to reach your potential. And yeah, so that's basically the second point that I want to get across here. The third point, and this is very closely connected to this second point, that is that this notion that going through climbing up the grade ladder always feels the same, okay? So this notion that, you know, now I'm climbing 7A, at some point I'm going to be climbing 8A, and this is going to feel just as hard as now this 7A, okay? At some point this 8A is going to feel just as hard as this 7A. That's not true, man. That's not true. Even if you can climb 8C, 8A is still going to feel freaking hard. It's going to feel like freaking 8A, okay? And 7A is going to be very far down there. It's going to feel pretty easy, you know? At some point, it's getting really hard to distinguish between 7A or 7A plus or 7B. Now, if you would ask me if this is a 7B or a 7A plus, I probably could not give you an accurate answer because I just have lost the sensitivity for this spectrum of the grade ladder, okay? I'm more up there with the 8As and 8A plus. I think I can distinguish pretty well an 8B from an 8A plus, okay? But 8A for me still feels like freaking 8A. It didn't get easier, okay? Different positions on the grade ladder feel completely different. And for me, the max grade 8C definitely feels completely different than when I was climbing at a max grade 7B or something like that, okay? It's going to change. And you know what's going to change essentially? It's going to be more suffering. It's going to get harder, you know? It's like this notion that everything feels always the same. That's just not true. Rather, it feels more and more extreme, but your body is also able to withstand these even more extreme forces because you've trained it to do so. You've trained it in the gym, you've trained your mental strength, but you always have to keep pushing, man. If you want to hold this level, you always have to keep pushing. You know, you always have to be aware of that suffering. You want to increase your ability to resist suffering, essentially. And this is the more true, the closer you get to your genetic limit, to your genetic potential, of course. But yeah, man, I can only say if you expect it to feel the same all the time as you're moving up the grade ladder, you're not gonna move up the grade ladder. Because it only feels the same all the time if you're staying at the same position all the time on the grade ladder, okay? You're gonna have to learn something new. You're gonna have to acquire some more resistance to suffering if you want to step it up to the next step on the grade ladder. And it's gonna get harder and harder. It's not gonna feel the same all the time. It's gonna get harder and harder. And if you're lucky, your body is strong enough to resist even these greater forces, okay? And of course, you need to have mental strength first to be able to even train your body to that new level, okay? Your mentality has to be already ready for that next step, for this 9A or stuff like that. So this is the first point that I want to get across here. It's not gonna feel the same all the time. It's getting harder and harder, and that's what you have to be aware of, I would say. Okay? Some screaming is going around here. Anyway, I wanna wrap this video up here real quickly. Don't be such a little crybaby and try freaking harder, okay? Try freaking harder. Be aware that it's not gonna get easier, man. It's not gonna get easier, and it's not even gonna stay the same. It's gonna get harder and harder, and enjoy climbing from time to time as well. Have fun as well, but be aware that with only having fun, you're not very likely to leave your comfort zone, and you're not very likely to reach that next step, okay? That's just the way how it is. That's the way how I see it. I would be very glad to read how you, what your experiences are with trying harder and stepping it up on the grade ladder. Maybe you have some experience already as well, if you're a longer term climber as well. And until then, I'm gonna hit the outdoors now. It should be an awesome session. I'm already pretty psyched, I have to say, and I'll see you soon, guys, in the next one. Have a great one. Bye.